August 19, 1944, Vermacht Headquarters, East Prussia. General Oberst Alfred Jodl reviewed the latest intelligence reports from the collapsing Western Front. His staff had calculated the mathematics of Allied supply lines stretching over 400 kilometers from Normandy. The Americans had outrun their logistics. Patton would halt within days, perhaps hours. No army could sustain such advanced speeds without fuel. From his position at Hitler's Wolfschanze HQ, Jodl analyzed what every German general understood from experience. An armored division consumed 150,000 gallons of fuel daily when advancing. The Americans were now 400 meters from their supply depots. The calculation was inescapable. Patton's Third Army would grind to a halt, giving the Wehrmacht time to regroup at the Senu. What Jodl didn't know was that 125 miles away, 5,958 trucks were already rolling eastward in an endless convoy, headlights blazing in defiance of doctrine, carrying 2,500 tons of supplies every 24 hours. The Red Ball Express was about to change everything. A logistics operation so audacious that German military science had never conceived it possible. It was about to shatter every assumption about mechanized warfare. Within 72 hours, Patton's supposedly immobilized tanks would crash through German positions. Within a week, they would liberate Paris. Within a month, they would stand at the German border. The Wehrmacht's finest military minds were about to receive a lesson in American logistics that would redefine their understanding of modern warfare forever. Delivered by 23,000 truck drivers, 75% of them African American, who turned a one-way highway system into the most efficient military supply line in history. The German General Staff's confidence in American logistical failure came from decades of experience. They had pioneered Blitzkrieg, revolutionized combined arms warfare, and understood intimately the tyranny of supply lines. Their own campaigns had repeatedly stalled when logistics failed to keep pace. Russia had shown them the brutal limits of supply. German trucks broke down on Russian roads. Horse-drawn wagons, still 80% of German military transport, couldn't match the speed of Panzer spearheads. Railway gauge differences meant supplies piled up hundreds of miles from the front, paralyzing advances. General de Panzer Trooper Hinrich von Lutwitz, who would command 47 Panzer Corps from September 1944, had written in July, "The Americans face the same logistical impossibility we faced in Russia. Their mechanical advantage becomes a disadvantage. Machines require fuel, ammunition, parts. They have advanced 400 miles in 30 days. History teaches us what comes next: paralysis." German intelligence meticulously tracked American consumption rates. A single Sherman tank burned 0.5 mpg gallon on roads far worse cross-country. An infantry division required 700 tons of supplies daily. An armored division needed 1,000 tons. Patton commanded 12 divisions advancing on a 60-mile front. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. 12,000 tons daily, transported 400 kilometers from the beaches over damaged roads, systematically destroyed. General Major Siegfried Westphal, who would become Chief of Staff to Field Marshal von Rundstedt in September, calculated on August 20th, even if the Americans possessed unlimited trucks, which they don't, and perfect roads, which they don't, and no mechanical failures, which is impossible, they still couldn't sustain Patton's advance more than another 48 hours. Physical laws cannot be violated, not even by American industry. At 2 p.m. on August 25, 1944, in a requisitioned French chateau near Lay, Lieutenant Colonel Laurent Ayers of the Motor Transport Service faced skeptical officers. The math they presented was stark. Patton's Third Army was consuming supplies faster than any army in history, advancing at speeds that defied all logistical planning. Traditional supply methods, railway transport, scheduled convoys, depot to distribution, had collapsed under the strain. The supply chain was broken. The front was outrunning the rear. The system, as designed, was mathematically incapable of sustaining the pace of the American advance. So Ayers proposed something unprecedented, a supply operation that would ignore every rule ever taught. Instead of scheduled convoys, he proposed continuous movement. Instead of two-way roads, he proposed one-way traffic loops. Instead of resting drivers, he proposed rotating them in motion. The goal was simple: deliver supplies faster than Patton could consume them. The officers stared at him, baffled. Someone asked, "Where will you find the trucks?" Another asked, "Where will you find the manpower?" A third said, "You are proposing a logistical impossibility." Ayers simply replied, Gentlemen, impossibility is not an option. He showed them the plan, a circular highway system stretching from the beaches of Normandy to the front. One road solely for eastbound traffic, one road solely for westbound. A rotating pool of thousands of trucks moving day and night without stopping. Drivers would sleep in shifts, not in beds. Maintenance would happen on the roadside, not in depots. Convoys would ignore standard spacing, instead forming a near-continuous line of movement. Every hour, every minute, every second had to be maximized. Someone whispered, "This is suicide." Someone else said, "This violates every regulation." Ayers nodded, correct. But regulations don't win wars, supply does. High Command approved the experiment. The name was chosen, the Red Ball Express. A red circle symbol painted on every participating vehicle meant one thing: this truck has absolute priority. No checkpoint could stop it. No MP could delay it. No officer outranked its mission. If a Red Ball truck approached, everything else moved out of the way. By dawn on August 26th, the first 1,000 trucks were rolling. By nightfall, $3,000. Within 72 hours, over 5,000. By September 1st, more than 6,000. Nothing like this had ever existed in military history. A highway of steel, rubber, and determination. And at the heart of it were the drivers, 75% African American soldiers, many of whom had been relegated to support roles due to segregation. Now they were the backbone of the fastest and most critical supply operation of the entire European war. They drove through rain, fog, wreckage, and enemy sabotage. They drove with lights on at night, a direct violation of frontline orders because time mattered more than stealth. They were shot at, bombed, ambushed, and still they drove. Some trucks carried jerry cans stacked to the roofline. Others hauled ammunition, food, spare parts, medical kits, even boots. Everything Patton needed, everything the frontline demanded, flowed through these trucks. The front moved because they moved. The goal was never speed. The goal was continuity. A single truck stopping could disrupt the flow behind it. So drivers were forbidden to stop unless their vehicle was on fire, and sometimes even then they kept going. German commanders watched in disbelief. Their predictions of American paralysis evaporated. Every morning their scouts reported the same impossible truth. Patton was still moving. American tanks were not slowing down, they were accelerating. Westphal wrote in his diary, "We miscalculated. The Americans do not merely supply their army. They fuel it with an energy we did not believe possible." The German High Command had underestimated not American firepower, but American logistics. By early September 1944, the Red Ball Express was hauling over 12,000 tons of supplies every 24 hours. The original mathematical models predicted the Americans could deliver no more than 4,000. The system was now operating at triple the theoretical maximum. Patton himself remarked, "My men can eat their belts, but my tanks need gas." Thanks to the Red Ball Express, his tanks never starved. The Third Army smashed through German defenses, liberated cities, and pursued retreating units with relentless pressure. In one 24-hour period, the Red Ball delivered more fuel than the entire German army could transport in a week. American mobility became a weapon. German soldiers described facing an enemy that never stopped advancing, as if the front itself had momentum. High Command finally understood. The Red Ball Express was the true engine of the Allied advance. Without it, Patton would have stopped cold in late August. With it, the Americans reached the German border before the Wehrmacht even realized what was happening. But the success came with enormous cost. Drivers fell asleep at the wheel. Trucks overturned on narrow French roads. Maintenance crews worked 20-hour shifts. Mechanics cannibalized broken trucks to keep others running. Every day was a battle. Some routes became so dangerous that German saboteurs ambushed convoys at night. Snipers targeted fuel trucks. Mines were placed under bridges. Yet the trucks rolled on, often escorted by MPs or armored jeeps. Still, the Express did not slow. By mid-September, an incredible statistic emerged. 1 in every 4 trucks in the entire European theater belonged to the Red Ball Express. No army in history had ever dedicated such a vast share of its transport capabilities to a single supply route. German officers were stunned. Their own logistical doctrine depended on railroads, vulnerable, inflexible, easily destroyed. The Americans, by contrast, created a mobile railroad made of trucks. It could reroute, adapt, and regenerate instantly. One captured German officer said during interrogation, "We planned for your tanks. We planned for your planes. We did not plan for your trucks." The Allies had turned logistics into a strategic weapon as powerful as any division of armor. By late September, the situation changed. The front had stretched further. Supply demands increased. The Red Ball was strained beyond its limits. Roads deteriorated, truck engines failed. Drivers were exhausted. Even this miracle system had boundaries. The Allies attempted to open a second route, the White Ball Express, but it couldn't match the efficiency of the original. Congestion worsened. Still, the Red Ball held on, delivering the bare minimum needed to keep the advance alive.